everyone? I'm here with Brandon Collins from Indiana. Brandon, you've been with us since the beginning of Armlifting USA. Welcome to the show. How are you today, my friend?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Well, like I said, I've known you for 6 years by now. You've been with us since the beginning. Talk about some of the changes that you've seen in Armlifting USA throughout the years since your first competition there with John O'Connor.
Oh, it's getting pretty big. I mean, every single year it seems like there's new faces and new names that are popping out of the woodwork. Some of the names that disappeared for a couple of years pop back on the scene. Me being one of them, since I took the kind of 3 year hiatus doing Moss wrestling and then trying to convert back over and get back to it again. But yeah, it's growing. It's getting real exciting. I mean, the Arnold this year, the turnout for the just regular pro class and the open class was just amazing. And the stage setup this year and all the people that were over there watching it, that were just, just staying. Most people, they kind of meander through and kind of go about their way. But I mean, the crowd was amazing.
Oh, it was electrifying. I mean, even when I was competing, it was fantastic. And when I was announcing, I could just feel the energy, and I tried to contribute and get them fired up. It was great. I was so much fun. Um, so, what you have obviously a very varied athletic background. Unfortunately, you got hurt last year during the Moz wrestling. That obviously took away from your ability to arm lift at your potential. Can you talk about your history in strength sports and athletics in general and what led you to this point?
Oh, when I was coming out of powerlifting, and I've done strongman, done some bodybuilding, powerlifting. I mean, I'm 45 now, so I had just a lot of stuff, and I like doing strength and active strength stuff that's going to carry over, stuff you can use in the real world. And I was coming off a major knee surgery and shoulder surgery, coming out of
Ugh.
powerlifting. Still wanted to compete, still had that fire in me. And John O'Connor was said, "Hey, come over here and try this arm lifting." And started doing that. I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of good at this. Let me kind of stick to it." And then got me on the Moss board. I tried to fight that for a couple years, and it's like, no, I'm too young, too old to be out there with those young guys and stuff. And a couple practices, and I was like, yeah, you probably should try to do this. And so stuck with that for a while. I think I won North Americas for the 90 kilogram class in 2020, maybe, I think, right before COVID. And I wanted to compete in armlifting and wanted to go compete in worlds when we were able to leave the country and go over there. And then now,
Right.
since everything is kind of switched back around, but still the direction that it's going and how big it's getting here, I mean, people want to come here to compete in it over here. So that makes it and just says a lot for it right there.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's too bad. I've been to Russia twice to compete, um, and it was quite a just a whole experience about traveling to Russia. But obviously, with them being at war with Ukraine, they're not welcoming us, and not the arm lifters, but just it's not safe to go there. They're at war. So we took the bull by the horns, and we've held the worlds the last 2 years here. And their athletes are certainly welcome to come here, but I don't think they're able to. Um, I don't think they're able to travel the way they would like as well. So, um, yeah, we're just going full steam ahead for Orlando. How's your training been for Orlando?
It's been doing pretty good. Actually, now that I'm able to focus on it again. So, and knowing what's coming up, and it's the armlifting world. You got so many toys hanging on your wall. You want to mess with every single one of them, but you try to stick to the new format that you've kind of laid out there now. So I'm trying to put my focus right in those directions, and of course go to Florida and have some fun, because 2 years ago when we were down there, I mean, we had an awesome time down there. So definitely looking forward to going back.
Absolutely, yes. I am too looking go forward to Florida. Okay, hold on one second. We're gonna edit this part out. I gotta take my dog outside. Sorry about the interruption.
Okay.
We'll we'll edit that little sticking part out. Sorry about that. Um, Yeah. So obviously, you're in the 90 kilo class, 198. Which is your favorite event to compete at? You talked about the varied grip wall on in the garages, right? I have one too. What's your favorite event, and maybe what is your favorite event that you're looking forward to in Orlando?
Favorite event, I like the rolling handles. I really like the new country crushers. Those are interesting. I like how we're playing around with the different sizes on it too. I like the hilt. Trying to get back on that because we used to have the little bighorn that we did, and I was getting pretty good at that. So I think the hilt is the one I'm really looking forward to here at the at Worlds, just because it's the one I'm better at right now compared to the rest of them since I've been kind of out of it for a little bit. So
Right. Yeah, no, I think that one is a very simple event. It's not an expensive thing to own. You just can slap it in your gym bag and take it and go. So I
yeah,
think that's and it's real popular. It seems like the rock climbers and some of the other people that are new to arm lifting, they seem to have a little bit of more trouble with the square events, like the Saxon bars of various kinds. But geez, you give them a hilt and they just start slapping on the
hmm
plates. They're phenomenal. So I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds in from various strange sports.
yeah, definitely.
Can you talk about competing there in Indiana now? You're competing mainly with Christina Bangma, Nick Mans, Ricky, some other, all lifters who've lifted like yourself at either the Arnold or the Worlds or both. Can you talk about what it's like to have that crew there?
It's crazy that we have so many of the names that are doing good right here in the little small area because we're all within 20 minutes away from each other. And with we started running the Fort Wayne Strongest Hands show at our expos up here a couple years ago, and then this year we turned it into the Super Series and did it that way. And and there's other grip freaks running around out here that just don't compete right now, but they come and train and everything. And just like, where are you guys? Why don't you compete? Why don't you come over and do it? And it's like, all right, yeah, if I can fit it into my schedule and stuff. I'm just like, all right. So yeah, it's just with the guys from the climbing background, those guys are freaks of natures. And then we got a bunch of guys that arm wrestle kind of around here, and then the strongman and Highland Games people. So you get different people that are freaks at certain different implements that carry over, and it's amazing because you set a time for a training session, you never know who's going to show up and train.
That's super cool. I'm actually envious because where I live, even though California has 39 million people, mainly I train by myself because I live in, and it's certainly not a remote area. There's 150,000 people who live in my city, but I mainly train by myself. Ode is a few hours away to the south, and Carl is almost 4 hours away. So the people that I would like to get together with, it's quite a haul to get there. Um, but I think it's great that you've got such a varied training group and super talented group uh, that you can train with. It's awesome. I'm a little jealous, to be honest, but yeah, I have a background. I started in college. I never lifted weights. I played basketball, and then I had to lift weights for basketball, and then I started track and field in college, and then I found out I was way better at that than basketball, and throwing the discus and shot put, and then I started lifting weights when I saw what the real throwers were like. My gosh. So I think all of us have a varied background, but I really like what you hit on. It all complements, right? It all kind of goes together. And
Hmm.
uh, can you talk about what advice you would give to, say, a Highland Games or a shot putter or a strongman or a power lifter or a rock climber that's listening to our interview right now that hasn't tried arm lifting? What advice would you give? Or Moz wrestler, for example, Brandon, what advice would you give them?
Like, tell them you got to come and try it out. It's easy to do, and it doesn't interfere usually with your other training and everything else. You're going to need your grip for whether you're doing Highland Games, climbing, doing strongman, and you have freakish strength on some of the implements for arm lifting just because of the regular training. And it's sport is growing and it's getting so big. Why not be able to go to the Arnold or to the Olympia and compete in two different events like I do half the time? And so it's just
Right.
fun to do. You're going to be there. Why not do the most you can do while you're there? And it's some days you can't make it out, weather's bad or something like that. You can grab a grip implement and do it while you're sitting on the couch. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I mean, it's the way to go. I sit at my desk in my office sometimes, and I've got my donuts in there, and I'll just work squeezing or work some crushing, and they'll look at me like I'm crazy. You just keep on going.
Yeah, well, that's not the first time anyone's looked at either of us kind of crazy, and it won't be the last. So, no, that's absolutely fantastic, and I'm appreciative of the charity work you've done too this summer. Can you talk about the charity event you held in conjunction with Armlifting USA and how you're able to help out your local community?
Oh yeah, we had one of our real close group of friends. They own their own tattoo shop, and they were victims of arson. So we put a nice little grip event together for them, where all the proceeds and donations went to them. You guys and Country Crush sent out gift certificates as part of the prize packs, and we had so many people that contributed in the grip world with chalk and smelling salts. We had a couple. We gave away 2 sets of prizes of the golden potatoes, just stuff that was all just gifted to help bring in the competitors, and had live bands going. I mean, it was awesome. We had a great turnout for it.
Yeah, it's too bad you're 1,500 miles away, or I would have come.
Yeah,
It's just too bad. I mean, when you called me and told me about that, my first reaction was, "What can we do to help?" So, how much money did you wind up raising for the tattoo shop, Brandon?
I, I'm not sure what that final number was. I think we got close to 1,000, maybe a little over 1,000.
That's
And
great.
the venue was awesome because John O'Connor, firefighter, got us access to the Union Hall. So we right there
Awesome.
on Main Street. It was amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, well, that's just fantastic. And like I said, I live in it's not that small of 150,000 people, but I am as a high school teacher by day. I work with my local community literally every single day. So I am the first one who's going to be helping out when we can help out. So I really appreciate you bringing that to my attention because otherwise I wouldn't know about the tattoo shop that burned down in Indiana. Did they ever get to people who did it?
I think it's still under investigation. I think
Ooh,
they
well,
do
good
have
luck.
somebody in mind. So
Yeah, well, I hope they get them, whoever did that, because that's just not cool to deprive people of a chance to make their living. That's just not cool. Especially if it was malicious, like you said, arson. That's
yeah,
done on purpose. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm no fan of that. So, um, how many days a week are you training right now as you're getting ready for the Olympia?
Just 2 a week right now, just because my schedule's so busy. But it's
Mhm.
2 that are focused just on grip. So I kind of put my other training to the side just to try to focus more on my grip training. So,
Right.
but
Well, the 90
it's
kilo class is a very competitive class. I think judging by the Super Series, a lot of the people who are going, they're really close, including you, really close to each other. And I think that's going to be one of the more exciting competitions to see how it unfolds because uh, the medals are wide open. I think Devin Lee Brown is a favorite to win the thing, but after that, I think anyone if they bring it on the given day, especially since we've got some new implements now, like the 2-inch Saxon bar. I'm excited for you because I think you got a chance to really get after it.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking forward to touching that one because we don't have that one to train on, and that one looks real interesting.
yeah, it's a different feel for sure. I think the it can be an equalizer for some of the lighter weight classes where the bigger ones, some of the athletes and in the smaller weight classes have trouble getting a grip on the bigger one. I think the skinnier one, it's gonna make it a whole new contest. It's gonna be very interesting. So that's great. Well, I see you've got your football T-shirt on. That means you got a football on the menu for today. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time on this Sunday to talk to me, Brandon. As always, it's a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you in person in Orlando in about 6 weeks. So, best of luck in your training. Thanks for taking the time, and I appreciate all you do. On
All
behalf of
right.
Armlifting USA, thank you.
You too. Thank you, Ricardo.
All right, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Sounds good.